Peace, Hotep, Namaste. My name is Afet Mayat Ejube. It is once again a great pleasure that I welcome you all into my humble abode for our Culture and Refinement series, part 16, entitled The 7 Units. Now once again, I want to thank you all for allowing me to come to your homes wherever you're within the sounds of my voice. It is always a pleasure to be among the people. Now, once again, as always, I want to get started. We'll go over our 7 units once again. Unit number 1 will be how to sew. Unit number 2 will be how to cook. Unit number 3, how to clean. Unit number 4 is how to take care of your children. Very important in this day and time, how to take care of your children. So much going on in the realm of that subject. As an educator, that is my heart, that is dear to me, that is my number one topic. A lot of things going on. We've got people, parents trying to sacrifice their children for insurance policies. It's overlapping into all homes. It's just not a racial thing. It's so-called black homes, so-called white homes. All this whole thing is going on within the country. So this is really time now for us to really go inside of ourselves and really find out how we can offer solutions to a lot of the dilemmas. And that's what I've dedicated my channel to. Unit number 5, we'll continue on, will be how to take care of your husband. And also for the men, how to take care of your wife. And also another word we can use is consort, which means husband and wife. And we're going to expound on that a little more, have some upcoming things coming on with the relationships, and also word marriage contract. We're going to go into that in relation to how important that is, and a lot of things, and you deal better with the relationships pertaining to that point as well from the spiritual realm. And then we want to go into unit number 6, which is how to act at home, and then unit number 7, how to act abroad. Unit number 6, how to act at home. Not only deal with etiquette at home, how do we treat ourselves while we were in the confines of our homes with our loved ones? How do we communicate? Are we eating dinner at least once a week with one another? Are we exercising together? Are we just talking about the right subjects, things that are going on within our homes? Also, how to act outside of our homes while we're shopping. What's the proper etiquette? How to discipline children out in the public. Once again, that same realm about people leaving their children in car seats. That's going on all over the country, especially down here in the southern area. We're going to get more into that as well. Unit number 6, how to act at home. Unit number 7, how to act abroad. There's a lot of things going on with the immigration. It's going on. A lot of people saying the Mexicans don't belong here, but we're all Native Americans to this land. So we all just have to find a way to try to live in peace with one another and just stop all this foolishness and try to come to peace with one another and heal the problems in our community. And in turn, we'll heal ourselves so we can heal the whole world. Stop these wars that are going on. And it's all up to us as the people. Can't look to any leaders to try to help us. We got to really try to solve this ourselves and appeal to our leaders to let them know how we feel. That's fine, but let's really must take on the responsibility for ourselves. The more we refine and fashion ourselves as so-called human beings, the more better we will become in dealing with the problems that do beset our communities and our country and even our whole world. So those are the 7 units. I want to get started. I want to dedicate this particular so-called teaching tonight to Prophet Noble Ali, who transformed on this day, July the 20th, 1929. So as we wrap up this evening, I'm going to dedicate the lecture or the teaching to him. Because all of this, we can bring it all back to a 360-degree realm on the spiritual plane, and just want to give obeisance to also to remember who he was, and all the things that he said will lead us up to this day. We're walking right in it. We're walking right in everything that he had told us. So I want to give a background and try to tie it into units 6 and 7, which deal with how to act at home and how to act abroad. And one thing as far as dealing with Noble Ali, he was born here in this country, acting at home with that 7 unit. He was born in the state of North Carolina, an 1886 on January the 8th. And then he transpired, like I said today, on July the 20th. 1929 at the age of 43 in Chicago. And he lived on our earthly plane for 43 years of what he gave us. He brought us back to our true selves as cultural, spiritual beings, our true cultural identity as Moors. And we cannot thank him enough for allowing this to be in this day and time as we learn to refine and fashion ourselves and to teach others. At a young age, he decided that he wanted to go overseas. His parents died. They also were from the Yamasee Cherokee tribe, which is the same tribe many of us come from. My parents as well from that same bloodline. So that's very important for us to search our roots and to find out who we truly are and what role we do play as so-called Native American Moors. Now, he, as I stated, his parents died at an early age, and one of the things he said on the day that he was born, he was in the caretake of his aunt, and there was some animosity because she didn't understand his spirit. He had a high spirit, and one of the things that he said, was that when I was born, he said, it turned black, dark in the daytime. The people put their plows down and came out of their fields because at the time of his birth, they knew that this was a special person that was coming into the world to fulfill a mission or assignment, which many of us have been also called to do in this day and time. Some other things he said was, I did not let you know who my father and mother were because I don't want you to make a shrine out of the place. Now that's very, very deep right there, because also he's referring to his lineage, that he was born on the land. His parents were not slaves, as many of us are finding out. And when we research our family bloodline, we find out that we were already here. And these are some of the things that the Supreme Wisdom speaks of this, which is written by Master Muhammad and also interpreted to Elijah Muhammad, who were both in the temple under Nubudroli at one time. They always paid homage as far as Elijah Muhammad was concerned, and also the Honorable Minister Farrakhan also made reference numerous times to what the Prophet had brought to us through giving us the first keys to Islam. And he has made reference to this many a times. I've been there personally and heard him say this many times, and also it's been recorded and documented. Elijah Muhammad was in the temple, and then when he came out, he realized he had a mission to fulfill in order to introduce our people to Islam. And so these are very, very great times that we're living in as we find out who we truly are and refine and fashion ourselves to our true spiritual nature. Great information for all people to find out who we truly are so we can heal this planet. Also in 1913, he realized he had a calling when he came back from his trip in Egypt as a merchant, seafaring merchant. He went overseas a few years before he established the temple, and that's when he found out his true calling, that he actually was a reminder of some of the prophets, with some of the adepts that told him when he went over to Egypt as a merchant, seafaring merchant, which was what Moors are. They were navigators. They traveled the shores, traveled the 7 seas. We were the first ones here. We taught other nations and kingdoms. These are the things that have been locked away, and now we must be made aware of them so we can reclaim our true spiritual nationality and stand up now before the world. So when he came back, he realized his true mission, and he established in 1913 the Moorish Science Temple of America. And he established this on Newark, New Jersey. Now, a couple of years before that, it was originally called the Canaanite Moorish Science Temple. We still have a few Moors that do refer to themselves as Canaanite Moors. That was the original name before he established the Moorish Science Temple of America in 1913 in the city of Newark, New Jersey. Then he figured he wanted to move on and try to establish a main domain, I guess a main headquarters, and he picked Chicago. And that was in right after around that time he goes to Chicago. A few years after that, he goes to Chicago to establish his headquarters. And also in 1925, he said the Midwest is closer to Islam. That's another reason why he wanted to establish a temple in Chicago, the main one. And from there he could teach others, our people at that time, our true cultural identity. Also, I want to make a reference to Psalm 82 and 6, which says that ye are all gods, children of the Most High God. This is a very popular biblical verse, and in it says that we can actually become little gods of the Most High. We're not saying we're of the Most High God Himself, but we can also reform and fashion ourselves into spiritual beings in order to help build ourselves and also the planet. And this is truly the true meaning of Islam. It's more than a religion. I think a lot of people are becoming confused when they see these wars that are being fought, unjust wars, of course, with Muslim countries and Russia and everything that's going on for power. And we're not going to get too much into that. But at the same time, it's best the more information you gain to what's actually really going on with these countries, the more you can address the situation and truly find out how people are, what their customs are, what their culture are, and at the same time seek yourself, within yourself, how you can actually refine and fashion yourself and begin to seek real truth and enlightenment, which is what Noble Drew Ali came to establish. And some other profound things he did, he actually had something very profound. In 1928 he gave a conclave in Chicago where he met with all the city businessmen, came from different cities as well, to let them know of his presence in establishing the Moorish Science Temple of America there in Chicago. And he not only brought the true identity of ourselves before 1492, but he also taught us true economics, how to establish businesses and all these things, and at the same time do something for self. And this is very important, because how can you establish something if you don't know where you're going? And I think this is a very important issue in our communities right now. That's why it doesn't seem like things are happening the way they should be. It's picking up, but there's still a lot of violence issues, things are going on, still shootings, and these are the things we've got to take control of that. We have to really search within ourselves and get the information out there for those who want to have it. They really want to change themselves, because this is the time that we're living in, the time of what must be done. So once again, this is what he came to establish and teach us. And also in 1928, there was a Pan-American conference that he went to with Brother Kirkman Bay. And this was held in Havana, Cuba. And the Secretary of State Hughes at the time was the Secretary of State of the United States. And when he saw these two brothers get off the boat, Kirkman Bay was an interpreter. He was Noble Drew Ali's interpreter. Secretary of State Hughes, one of the elders in the temple, quote, I quote, said that Secretary of State Hughes said, these are two dangerous men. These are dangerous men, because he knew the prophecy was being fulfilled at that day and time, even though most of our people were still asleep as to who they truly were. But they knew that he was establishing something to get us to come back around. And now we're in this time now where all the truth is being unleashed, establishing who we are, establishing our true identity. We're not Negro, black, or colored. We are actually Moors. Some of us are Native Americans, most of us are. So once we research our true lineage and who we are, the more we'll become confident and be able to establish our own businesses and come into the enlightenment of what we're born to do, our true assignment as well. And getting back to the conference, once he went there and he made the claim for the nationality, for the comatose Moors, that means most of our people were asleep at that time. But he made the claim that yes, this money is owed, not just the monies, but also the history that was kept from us, our people. He was coming to reclaim all that. He knew he had a short time to do this, but he came and fulfilled it. And he knew now, like a 360-degree circle, would come back around. And now we see the more people are waking up to themselves and who they truly are as spiritual beings through proclaiming their nationality. And now, when he came back, he received a lot of animosity. He did a brave thing when he was there. He told the rulers there that, here, I know this money is owed. What's on the back of that dollar bill is owed to the Moors. And once our people wake up, we can establish our spiritual nationality. And this money will be, it's right now it's being paid to those of us who are comatose and know what's going on, who are awoke. We're no longer comatose. There are ways that they are actually making this done to us. Some of us Moors and Native Americans. So after he came back once again, he came back to Chicago, he received a lot of animosity from not only the members of his temple, but also there were some things that was going on within the temple. Some say it was something to do with fighting over some of the wives or somebody's wife. To that degree, they basically had some type of argument with some of the Moors. Then the police were called to this establishment, and they wound up arresting him and another brother, I believe, in the temple. And he stayed there for 3 days. I think his wife came to get him out. And when he came back, his head was hurting really bad, and they said the police beat him up. On top of that, and when he came back into the temple, he just passed out and died from those seizures, from the beating that the police had given him. But all these factors and everything, he knew that his time was short and limited, but he had came to do what he was assigned on this earth to do, and we thank him for that. Some other things that he said was, he said also that the Asiatic preachers, which meaning so-called black people, Asiatic preachers and Masons, will be the last to come home. They will fight me tooth and claw, but cannot win. We see it now because the truth is actually coming out, and nothing can stop the truth from being revealed in this day and time, as my parents would always say. Truth will always come to light. So with that, we realize now most people should be coming into spiritual enlightenment time. All people, whatever they have to do, whatever needs to be done to correct themselves. And that's really what Islam is. It's I am self, law, and master. And we just want to thank Mother Geronimo so much for coming into our life and settling this and teaching us and showing us the right way to get this done. So now I want to make a libation to our ancestors, and also this evening as we close it out, make a libation to our ancestors. This is just a clear water, and Fuji, one of the best waters to buy. Don't drink or anything like that, alcohol. So I'd like to make a libation to all of our ancestors, mainly to Prophet Juwali, who passed this day back on July the 20th. 1929. I want to thank you for all our ancestors and elders who came to show you the light. But mainly this day, July the 20th, 1929. Noble Juwali for teaching us how to be ourselves. We came to uplift all of humanity. Now we must carry the torch and make sure that is done as well. I don't drink it. I just want to sprinkle some in my abode and do the thing. We give the basis to all of our ancestors coming for us, coming back to us, showing us the way. Once again, thank you so much for accepting me into your home. Thank you. And I'll be coming with more videos to help us, guide us through this great time that we're living in, help uplift and refine ourselves in the true light from the school of culture and refinement. Thank you so much for uplifting me by allowing me to be in your homes, and I hope you're going to keep those subscriptions coming. And it's a pleasure to be in Master all the time. Thank you so much. I want to wish you a blessing, peace, love, and light to all. Peace, truth, freedom, justice, and